Hey, how's it going? It's Sam Frost here, back with another short digital marketing video. Now, in today's video, we're looking at LinkedIn ads and what constitutes a good click-through rate on the LinkedIn ads platform. So if you're not really that familiar with the click-through rate concept, basically it's a measure of how many people see your ad versus how many people click. And generally speaking, the higher the click-through rate, the better, for a whole bunch of reasons, which I'll go into in a different video. I want to keep this one nice and short. But basically, if 100 people saw your ad and 5 of them clicked, you'd have a click-through rate of 5%. So with LinkedIn advertising, what's a good click-through rate? What should you be aiming for? Well, according to the most recent data I could find, and I'll leave a link in the description of this video to the sources I've used, LinkedIn ads click-through rate as a sort of global average across all industries and advertising types and sort of locations sits around 0.4 to 0.6%, so roughly around 0.5%. So a LinkedIn ads click-through rate that's higher than about 0.5%, higher than 0.5%, is basically going to be pretty good. And obviously the higher you can go from there, the better. So if you're running a LinkedIn ads campaign and you've run it for the last 30 days and you've looked in your stats and you've seen a click-through rate of 1.5%, then you're about 3 times the sort of global average of what you might expect as a average LinkedIn ads click-through rate. On the other hand, if your click-through rate for LinkedIn ads is sitting under 0.5% or under 0.4%, it's really on the lower side, and you might need to go and revisit your advertising. So how your campaign's structured in terms of objective, how your collateral's set up, so have you got compelling messaging and ad copy and all those kind of things. But what I do want to say is that with click-through rate, it's only kind of one measure that's indicative of the performance of your advertising. It's really only indicative of the performance of how appealing your ads are to click on. So click-through rate in and of itself is kind of meaningless if it doesn't translate into results. So if your goal is to get as many people as possible seeing your ad and then clicking on it, then sure thing, a high click-through rate, all other factors being equal, is going to be a good thing. And if you do get high click-through rates, it tends to be as well that you are rewarded with kind of better performance in terms of cost per click. This is the same thing that you see on Facebook ads and Google ads and so on. So obviously aiming for a robust click-through rate is good, regardless of what it is you're doing, but you do need to also think about what the overall objective of your campaign is. So is it actually to get more people simply seeing your brand? Well, in that case, if you're running something like a video view campaign on LinkedIn, you might have a video ad that you want to run at the top of the funnel, and you want as many people in your target audience as possible to see that and watch that. Well, clicks through to your landing page that you happen to have in your ad copy, that's kind of a secondary objective, right? It's not that important compared to your primary objective, which is getting that exposure of your brand via getting people seeing your video ad. So look at the objective you've got. You know, if the objective on the other hand is very much dependent on someone clicking on the ad, going to your site and filling out a contact form or a opt-in form to download something, then obviously a high click-through rate is good. But even there, you might be looking at running conversion ads on LinkedIn instead, because ultimately it's better to get 5 really good quality clicks that convert into leads or convert into sales of your product than it is to get 100 clicks at a higher click-through rate that don't go anywhere and a sort of lower quality overall. So click-through rate is really just an indicative measure, but if you're looking for an average LinkedIn ads click-through rate, something that would be a good figure, yeah, really anything over sort of 0.5%, 0.5% in my view is pretty good. And obviously going up from there, you're starting to get into that good territory. 1% and over is definitely starting to look pretty sharp in my view. But as I said, it's very much a how long is a piece of string question. A high click-through rate in and of itself doesn't necessarily mean your advertising is successful. It just means it's good at getting people clicking on it. If that's the objective, that's great. But if you've got something else you're trying to achieve, like more brand awareness or exposure or lead conversion or anything like that, you're better to focus on those outcomes, those KPIs instead. But certainly trying to get good click-through rate is something you should always be focused on any platform, really. Now, the final point I want to make is if you're wondering why LinkedIn ads click-through rates at that sort of 0.5% average figure are so low compared to something like Google search advertising, well, really it's all to do with the way people are interacting. If you go on Google to search for a product or service, you're looking to buy something, or you're looking for more information, so your intent is sort of stronger, so it makes sense that you'd be more likely to click on an ad. Whereas with LinkedIn, same with Facebook, it's interruption marketing. It's sort of digital equivalent of driving down the highway and seeing billboards. Some catch your eye, catch your attention, some don't. You're not going on LinkedIn really to look to buy anything. Most people are on there to connect with their industry peers, their colleagues, see what's happening in the world of business and so on. So that interruption marketing effect typically results in lower click-through rates. It's why you see lower CTRs or click-through rates on banner advertising and Facebook ads and those kind of things as well. So yeah, hopefully you found this helpful. If you need any more advice on LinkedIn ads and LinkedIn ad click-through rates, please do feel free to leave a comment. Please like this video if it's helpful, subscribe for more digital marketing advice, and I'll see you next time.